Okay, so I'm making this video today. I'm making this video for, now let's wait till it's thing. Okay, the topic of today's video is names to formulas. Now, but this one is with multivalence metal. Multivalence metal. Now, what on earth is multivalence metal first? Now, remember, we've been kind of talking about patterns of charges, and it's mostly like +1, +2, +3, plus or -4, -3, -2, -1. It's only this column, so to speak. Now, we didn't really talk about the transitional metal. Now, transitional metal, and even some of these ones here too, a lot of times they can have more than one charge. Okay, so they can either. So, for example, here this is a list of multivalence metal that on the test we're going to give them to you. But as you can see, copper, for example, it can be a +1 plus charge or 2 plus charge. Mercury could be a +1 or 2 plus. Okay. And iron could be a 2 plus or 3 plus. Okay. So in this case here, there are a number of possibilities. There's two possibilities, at least at this level. So what do we do? What do we do? So if we're talking about names of formulas, now we're going to talk about what you call the Upac Rule name first. Upac Rule is an international body of chemists where they decide in terms of how things should be named or how things should be called, and et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to follow that rule first. And what that rule says is this: multivalence metal, for the name, you need to put, as you can see, in the middle, in Roman numeral, what charge it would be. Okay, in Roman numeral, what charge it will be. So, for example, here, copper 1 oxide. Well, what that means is this copper will be a 1 plus ion. So, in this case, copper 1 plus. Now, oxide, hopefully you can remember, it's oxygen, will be 2 minus. So again, you have to do the crossover rule. The 1 plus, you give it to the oxygen, you throw away the sign. So in this case, it will be O1. This 2 minus from the oxygen, you give it to the copper, you throw away the sign, so you Cu2. Cu2O or Cu2. Okay? Ideally, this one. Okay? Again, ones should be invisible. Second example, iron 3 oxide. Iron 3 oxide. So in this case, same thing. Iron is Fe. This is a Roman numeral 3, which means this iron will be 3 plus. Oxygen again is O, and it's 2 minus. So doing the crossover rule, the 3 plus I'm giving to oxygen, so it's 3. This 2 minus, I give it to the iron, so it's Fe2. So it should be Fe2O3. By the way, that's also the formula for rust. Okay, the regular rust, iron rust that you see, that's reddish color, that's it. Third example, slightly trickier because we have a polyatomic ion. So, but it's the same concept. Sorry, I somehow put in Fe2. I should be just writing its name to formula. So iron 2 hydroxide. So in this case, the iron is 2 or 2 plus. Hydroxide, as you might remember, it's OH 1 minus. So you do crossover rule. This 1 minus, I give it to the iron first. So throw away the sign, so it's iron 1. This 2 plus, I'm giving you to the entire hydroxide. Okay, the entire hydroxide. So it will be bracket OH close bracket 2. Okay. Now this 1 should be invisible. So in this case, you have Fe. Don't need to write the 1, but you do need to keep the bracket because there's 2 OH. Okay. So hopefully this helps. This is talking about how these 3 examples are from names to formulas with multivalent metals using the Upac name. Now, some of you might see some things. There's some older fashioned way to name chemicals, which they will use the ik and the us systems. This is system that I had to learn. So if you ever see something like this, an ik and a us system, again, you're still dealing with multivalence metals, but rather than telling you what charge it will be, they're expecting you to remember that the higher ones would be symbolized by ik, and the lower ones will be symbolized by the us. So the first one here, this copper 1 oxide, because in this system, the copper could be a 1 plus or 2 plus, so you're using the lower one. So this chemical would actually be cuprous oxide. Cuprous oxide. Okay, us because it is the lower one, right? Copper could be plus 1 plus or 2 plus, so it's the lower one, so it will be us. In this other one, iron 3 oxide, because iron, as you can see, could be a 2 plus or 3, and you're using the higher one. So in this case, oh, by the way, you have to use in this system, you also have to use the Latin name too, if for certain elements. So this one will be ferric oxide. Okay, ik is because it is the higher valence number. It's the 3 plus rather than 2. So if you see something like that with us or ik, this is what it means. Just be familiar with it, but most of the time I'm going to ask you these questions, ask you to do this system, the Upac system. Okay, so I hope this helps. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Bye now.